today we will be discussing Module 5, Supervision. Okay. So objectives at the end of the presentation, students would be able to define supervision, list the responsibilities of a supervisor, define span control and contrast wide from narrow span control, discuss the different financial activities in a radiology department. Okay. In addition to this, we will also be discussing the responsibilities and functions of a diagnostic imaging supervisor, as well as the radiology administrator. Okay. Okay. Yan. Mali ang spelling. Okay. So, it's supposed to be supervision. Okay. When we hear the word supervision, okay, so what comes into mind? Okay. The first time I hear supervision, okay, ang unang pumasok sa akin ay na idea ay walang kinalaman sa management. Kung hindi may kinalaman sa superhero. Bakit? Kasi supervision yan, di ba? It came from two words. Super and vision. Di ba? Extra vision. Diba? Totoo naman. Okay? So, but basically, it is, kumbaga, it has the same sense. Yung sense niya ng pagiging parang superpower or super extra vision, kumbaga, from normal vision is nandun when it comes to the definition of what supervision is. Okay? So, supervision literally means to oversee. Okay? To oversee. However, supervision does not only remain passive. Kasi when we say oversee, parang nakatingin lang. Diba? Nag-observe lang. So, supervision is not just a passive process. So according to MS Bitoles, in a study conducted recently, so supervision refers to the direct, immediate guidance and control of subordinates in the performance of their job. So kung makikita natin dito sa definition na ito, hands-on. Ang supervision, ang trabaho ng isang supervisor is hands-on. Diba? Immediate guidance, direct control of subordinates in the performance of their job. So very hands-on. Okay? Thus, the supervision is concerned with three main functions of management. That is direction, immediate guidance, and control of a particular view, be it in the production of products, okay, in the performance of services, or in the process of doing a particular job description ng isang employee. Okay, so ito yung tatlong function. So to see that the subordinates or the employees are working according to plans, policies, programs, instructions, and time schedule. Okay? So, ito yung karaniwan na tinitingnan ng isang supervisor. Okay. At the same time, lahat ng trabaho ng supervisor ay naka-base din sa plan, sa policies ng organization, sa programs, at sa mga rules and regulation or instructions. And of course, yung time schedule, isa siya sa mga responsibility ng isang supervisor, yung paggawa ng time schedule. So later, i-discuss natin ano ba yung mga klase. What are the types of uh, time schedule for us radiologic technologies? So siguro somehow you have already a glimpse or an idea on how time schedule or scheduling in the radiology department works. Okay? So second, to guide the employees or subordinates at work if they are doing something inconsistent, okay, to directions given and need help as to let them able to accomplish their assigned tasks. So meaning, ito yung immediate guidance na sinasabi. Ibig sabihin, mag-provide agad ng instant feedback, ng real-time feedback si supervisor in order to or in order for the employee to correct any errors or mistake that that employee made. Okay? Para maitama yung process pa rin. Okay? Then, of course, control a particular view to give them direction to get the work done. Okay. So, a supervisor also is one responsible kapag may mga nangyaring problems, technical problems, or problems relating with the clients. So, the supervisor is the one to give directions in order for the work to be accomplished. Okay. So, what are the responsibilities of a supervisor? So, these are just four responsibilities. Okay? Dito sa illustration. Okay, so, pinapakita dyan yung scheduling, okay? Then coordinating, then providing feedback on the performance, assessment and evaluation yon. Okay, then providing report and activity updates to the higher management. So basically we have seven. We have seven responsibilities of a supervisor. So first is managing the workflow. As I said earlier, a supervisor works hands-on, very hands-on. Okay? Therefore, the supervisor is very familiar with the workflow. And dahil siya ay familiar sa workflow, madali niyang mag-guide, madali siyang makakapag-provide ng feedback kapag may deviation dun sa normal workflow. And at the same time, madali niyang makokontrol yung workflow. Okay? Siyempre, the workflow is defined by the policies and programs and instructions of the institution or the organization. Then number two, training newly hired staff. So while the orientation of the newly hired staff is the responsibility of the HR department, okay? However, it is also a shared responsibility of the supervisor to orient the newly hired staff about the job that the staff should do, okay? At the same time, support the staff in the training period. Okay, and also provide training, proper training. Hindi hindi yung okay, ikaw pala yung bagong hire, sige. Ah, ano, Radtech A, bahala ka na diyan, hindi ganoon. So the supervisor directs the training. Bakit? Kasi bakit yung hands-on sa training ang supervisor? Because of the responsibility number 5 na i-discuss natin later. So number 3 is creating and managing team schedules. Okay, so dito na yung working schedules. So it is the responsibility of the supervisor. However, there are some supervisors who delegates the uh, creation or the making of the schedule. Okay? Okay, when we say delegation, it is sharing of authority or power. Okay? So yung schedule is very important in a particular department, especially sa atin. Hindi pwede na walang magjo-duty. Kaya kung may mga naririnig kayo before na lalo na pag may mga bagyo, okay? So ito ay na-experience ko doon sa Makati Med before. Siyempre, bumabagyo, ang announcement lang sa balita ay ang suspension ng classes ay hanggang high school lang. So, pasok ako sa ospital. Total, walking distance lang ang ospital sa bahay namin sa Makati. Okay? So, pagdating namin sa ospital, kasi duty, morning. So, 6. So, before 6, kailangan nasa hospital na kami. So, pagdating namin sa hospital, palakas yung ulan. Knowing Makati Med, napapaligiran siya ng mga streets na binabaha. As in, baha. Umaabot ng dibdib ng leeg ang baha. Makati yun and it is very normal doon sa part ng Makati na yon. Okay, doon sa bandang De La Rosa. Yan, talagang ang lalim ng baha dyan. Okay? So, yung mga tech namin nakasama or inabutan namin na tech na from night duty, hindi na sila makauwi. Kasi yung mga papalit sa kanila na from mag-morning duty, hindi nakadating. Hindi nakapasok kasi walang masakyan, bahana. Kasi yung ibang mga radtech na nagtatrabaho sa Makati Med, nakatira sa Cavite. Cavite or somewhere in Manila. So, ayun, mahirap na yung transpo. Wala na nagbebiyahe kasi baha. Okay? And no choice, walang choice yung mga evening duty to extend their duty. So nag-extend na lang sila ng duty. Okay? At kung may pumasok pa rin na malapit lang ang bahay, let's say dapat off siya today, pero dahil sa emergency, tinawagan siya ng supervisor and pinakiusapan kung pwedeng mag-duty at siya ay nag-commit na mag-duty. So, saka pa lang pwedeng off duty yung night duty. So, yung mga from night duty ay binigyan ng accommodation sa hospital. So, doon na sila pinatulog sa ospital. Kasi nga, kaysa pauwiin, wala rin naman masasakyan and it is dangerous. So kaming mga interns na pumasok, may mga interns na hindi pumasok, mga from Cavite and Manila area. So hindi sila pumasok. So kaming mga nasa within Makati area lang malapit so pumasok. So continue yung duty namin. And as a consolation, yung hours namin or binigyan kami ng yung tinatawag na double duty. Ibig sabihin if mag-duty kami ng that time ng 8 hours, so the total duty for that day for na ilalagay nung intern coordinator namin sa ospital ay magiging 16 kasi double duty siya. And magbibigay pa ng merit. Okay. So yun. Kahit na gaano kaganda yung schedule, but sometimes there are unforeseen events. So yung mga tinatawag natin na force majeure. So these events are uncontrollable. Okay. The number 4, responsibility is reporting to the Human Resource Department and Senior Management. So ano yung mga report na ito? Okay. So, mga reports na pinapasa sa HR, so syempre, nandyan yung attendance. Okay? Attendance. So akala nyo ba sa klase lang may attendance? Hindi. Pati rin sa work, sa trabaho, yung attendance. Okay? Then, ano pa yung other reports? Marami. May mga financial reports, kung ano man yung gustong hingi ng senior manager, like ano ba yung projection ng nakikita ng department or sa department, let's say, may pag-increase ba ng income or meron bang pag-increase ng expenses. So kung ano man yung report na hihingi ng senior management, so the supervisor must submit. And part of these reports are of course number 5, the evaluation of performance of employees or subordinates. Okay, so in relation to number 2, okay, so it is the supervisor that will evaluate the newly hired staff, okay, during the probationary period if the newly hired staff pass the period of probation. So kung pumasa siya sa probationary period, then the HR department will, of course, follow the assessment or the evaluation of the supervisor and will grant regular status to the probationary staff. So regular status. And dito sa Philippine setting, okay, remember that probationary period is 6 months. Okay? 6 months. And after 6 months, kapag walang any feedback from the management that you are that you did not pass the probationary period or extended ka for another, let's say, 1 month or 2 months probationary period at lumampas na ng 6 months or pumatak ng 6 months, automatically you are regularized. Automatic na regular ka. Okay? Kasi usually, yung notice, if you pass or if you are for regularization, ay binibigay ng HR a month before, which is the 5th month. And yung evaluation ng performance ng newly hired staff or ng probationary staff ay nangyayari sa ika-5 buwan. Okay. And evaluation naman ng performance ng other staff, ng mga regular staff, ay nangyayari twice a year. Okay. And this evaluation or assessment will become the basis for the bonus. Okay. Siyempre, bonus is it is not a right. Bonus is not a right. It is a privilege given by your employer. Okay. Kung wala kang bonus, hindi ka pwedeng mag-demand ng bonus. Ang pwede mo lang i-demand is the 13th month pay. Because the 13th month pay is guaranteed by law. May batas tungkol sa 13th month pay. Yung bonus, siya ay generosity of your employer. Okay? And usually sa hospital or sa like do sa pinanggalingan kong company, okay? Ang evaluation ng performance ng manager sa mga employees ay every June and end of November. Okay. Yung sa June, para siya sa pagbibigay ng mid-year bonus. And yun namang sa end of November, para sa year-end bonus. Okay. So, yun. And providing feedback, so yung na-explain natin kanina. And number 6, identifying and applying career advancement opportunities. So it is also a responsibility of the supervisor to provide opportunities for his or her subordinates for career advancement. Okay. So when we say career advancement, okay, it is a way for a particular employee or for an employee to rise above the ranks, meaning promotion. So, yun. Yung supervisor din ang pwedeng pumili at mag-apply ng opportunities for promotion sa kanyang mga subordinates by virtue of course, the evaluation. Okay. So, advancement opportunities does not only come in the form of promotion. Okay? So, other form of this advance or career advancement opportunities are what we call the continuing professional education or continuing professional development. So, these are trainings related to the field of specialization. So let's say there is already a senior rad tech, okay, and the performance of the senior rad tech is very good, hindi nalilate, walang absences, walang unplanned absences, okay. So pwede siyang i-recommend ng supervisor for let's say a radiation protection officer training. Okay. So, yung radiation protection officer training and workshop, mahal yun. Hindi siya biro na training or workshop. Kasi it costs 10,000 pesos for a 4-day training. Okay, that training is conducted by TUV or Two Brain Land. So after finishing that course, so mai-issuehan si RadTech ng certificate for attendance ng training for radiation protection officer. Then meron siyang 1 year to finish or to make a radiation protection and safety manual for the department. At yun ay sinasubmit sa DOH-FDA, Center for Device Regulation, Radiation Health and Research. Okay, pag nakapag-submit si RadTech noon at siya ay pumasa yung kanyang manual, so that will be the manual of the department for radiation protection policies. And that RadTech will be issued a certification indicating that that RadTech is a radiation protection or radiation safety officer. And of course, the supervisor can recommend that RadTech for the position of RPO or Radiation Protection Officer, which is a promotion. And the number 7, helping resolve employees' issues and disputes. Okay. So that is one of the responsibility of a supervisor to help in the solving of problem between employees. Okay, bakit? Kasi kung may mga issues, disputes, and problems between employees, magkakaroon ng impedance sa workflow. And as we know, managing the workflow is the first responsibility of the supervisor. Okay? And therefore, it is also a concern of the supervisor if there are employees na magkaaway or merong di pagkakaunawaan. Okay? So these are the 7 responsibilities of a supervisor. Okay? So may question po ba? Any question or hypothetical question? Okay, hearing none. So let us proceed to the next topic. Okay, span of control. Okay, so a span of control is an element or an aspect in supervision. It is the number of subordinates that a particular manager or supervisor can handle. So it is the number of subordinates a supervisor within an organization has reporting to him or her. So ito yung mga definitions natin and descriptions. Okay? So span of control also varies from one organization to another. Kasi may dalawang type or classification ng span of control. Okay? And in the recent study by Doliet, okay, it says that the average span of control of modern supervisors, mind you, that's modern supervisors, is 11 or 10 to 11. In fact, the CEO of Apple, ang kanyang span of control is 11. Meron siyang 11 na supervisors na nagre-report sa kanya. Or 11 people na nagre-report directly to the CEO or Chief Executive Officer. Okay? So, yan. Span of control can either be narrow or wide. So these are the 2 classification or types of span of control. So the next thing that we will do is to contrast, differentiate the two span of control. Okay? So ano ba ibig sabihin, bakit ba tinawag na wide span of control? Ano naman ibig sabihin ng narrow? So ano kanilang advantages and disadvantages? Okay? So tingnan natin sa kasunod na slide. Okay. So this is, take a guess, is this wide or narrow span of control? Anyone want to take a guess? Is this a narrow type of span of control or a wide type of span of control? Anybody? Sa palagay nyo, anong klase siyang span of control? Narrow, narrow, narrow. How about the others? How about the others? Palagay nyo, grabe naman kayo, dadalawa na nga lang pagpipilian, di pa kayo pumili. Mga walang paninindigan. Tapos gusto nyo mapalitan si Duterte. Manindigan naman kayo. Wide. Okay. Narrow, ang daming narrow. Yung S1, S2 buzzer ay senior tech ang meaning. Supervisor ang ibig sabihin ng S. Okay, so ang daming narrow. Okay. So the final verdict is wide. Bakit wide? Kasi 'di ba, as you can see, sa CEO, ilan ang nagre-report? 6. At sa bawat supervisor, ilan ang nagre-report? 5. Diba? So meaning, konti yung level of authority nga or yung gap niya ay konti lang. So wide. Kasi nga, marami yung nagre-report sa isang particular supervisor. Siyempre, yung CEO, siya yung supervisor ng mga supervisor. Diba? So wide. Okay? Okay. So, yan. Ano yung mga advantages, okay, ng wide span of control? So, faster decision making. Okay, bakit faster? Kasi konti lang yung layers at madaling makukuha kung ano ba yung pulso. Ano ba yung common na idea na meron sa isang organization? Ano yung dominant idea? Diba? And then, syempre, madaling makakapag-decide yung top level management. Okay, faster decision making. Lower cost. Bakit lower cost? Syempre, dahil fewer manager ang kailangan. So, kung makikita nyo doon sa image natin, okay? 'Di ba? CEO tapos supervisor na agad. Wala ba kayo napansin na kulang? 'Di ba yung mga typical organizational chart, 'di ba? Let's say CEO or president, CEO or president. So then after doon merong vice president for finance, vice president for marketing, vice president for something something, 'di ba? Pero dito supervisor agad. Okay. And the supervisor, may mga team leaders na nagre-report or pwedeng ah, individuals na yan. Individuals agad yan. Okay? So, konti lang yung ah, managers. Siyempre, mas mataas na level na managers, mas malaki yung swelduhin niya. Hindi naman pwedeng ang sweldo ng isang vice president ng organization ay parehas ng sweldo ng isang supervisor, di ba? Siyempre magkaiba. Kaya advantage, lower cost. And then improve communications, okay, between managers and employees. So dahil nga konti lang yung layers and the employees can directly uh, go to their or directly report to their supervisor, di ba? And the supervisor can directly report to the CEO. So yung communication is better or may better lines of communication. Okay? Unlike sa kapag ang let's say ang yung may problem sa isang particular unit at dadaan pa siya sa more traditional structure, diba? Dadaan siya sa immediate head, okay, dadaan siya sa department head, dadaan siya sa sa division head, okay, and then so on and so forth. Diba? And the information or the message can of course be altered na. Pwedeng magkaroon ng alteration yung message kapag dumaan siya sa maraming tao. Diba? Kaya may activity na ganyan pag team building. Diba yung ibubulong or yung ibubulong mo yung isang story halimbawa or mag-a-action ka, tuturo mo yung action dun sa nasa end ng line, and then pagdating do sa sa kabilang end of line, iba na yung story or yung action. And then more freedom. Okay, so typically this employees will feel freer and less under a microscopic control. Bakit? Kasi the employees can freely express themselves. They can freely express what their opinions in different matters about the organization. Okay? So these are the advantages of a wide span of control. So however, there are also disadvantages. Okay? So disadvantages of wide span of control, fewer opportunities for employees. Okay. Siyempre, with the fewer layer within the organization, there is also less opportunity for promotion. Diba? Poor discipline. Bakit? Kasi nga, dahil ang mga employees ay they can speak freely, okay? Sometimes they forget even the basic courtesies, okay? And therefore, the organization can suffer from poor discipline. Okay? And then, kaya nga may kasabihan na familiarity leads to contempt. Diba? Yung pagiging familiar sa isang tao ay naglilid para tayo ay makagawa ng mga bagay na makakabawas sa respeto natin doon sa tao na yun. Okay? Kaya nga pag close tayo doon sa isang tao, di ba pag super close tayo sa isang tao, nawawala yung ating shyness. Diba? Hindi ko naman pwedeng diretsa sabing walang hiya. Diba? Nawawala yung hiya natin. Okay? Then, for relationships. Bakit po relationships? Okay? Dahil sa dami na minamanage ng isang supervisor, okay, nahihirapan siyang mag-form ng strong bond or interpersonal relationship with each of the supervisor's subordinates. An interpersonal relationship is an important skill of a supervisor. Okay? Then, poor performance. Okay. With so little supervision, so employees' performance can be affected. And it can become poor. Kasi nga, halos walang magsusupervise. Diba? Poor yung relationship. Okay? So, unlike do sa definition natin mismo ng supervision na that the supervisor is a hands-on individual. The supervisor can guide and instruct how things is to be done. So, in the wide span of control, this is not the case. Okay. But of course, these are the wide span of control has two sides of a coin, di ba? Ang isang bagay palagi may disadvantage and advantages. Okay, so how about this? Okay, is this a wide or narrow? Siyempre, narrow na. Kasi tapos na tayo sa wide. So as you can see, may CEO. And then, under the CEO, may tatlong vice president. And under each vice president, may dalawang senior manager. Diba? Ilang level na yan? Tatlo na, dalawa na agad na level, di ba? Level ng senior manager and level ng vice president. Okay. And then, pagdating ng sa senior manager, may nagre-report sa kanila na dalawang supervisor. Okay? So, another level of management. And then, under each supervisor, may dalawang team. May dalawang team leader, halimbawa. And bawat team leader, may mga certain number of individuals. And sa NARO, naglalaro lang sa between 3 to 6 ang span of control. Okay, 3 to 6 yung nasa pinaka ibaba. Pero usually, ayan, marami siyang level. Okay? So, usually kasi, ang marami lang sa span of control, yung pinakamarami talaga, is nasa low level management or yung nasa mga employees. Okay? So, yan. Ang dami niyang layers of management. So yung idea before from the employees bago makarating sa CEO, distorted na or pwedeng i-claim ng ibang tao. Diba? Okay. So narrow span of control advantages. Okay. So easy access to superior. Bakit easy access? Okay, because the subordinate can quickly and easily speak to their superior whenever they need. Kasi ilan lang naman silang magre-report doon sa superior nila. Unlike sa wide wider span of control, ang daming magre-report doon. So most of the time, may kausap yung superior. Okay? Then better opportunities. Of course, there will be opportunities for promotion. Close supervision or closer supervision. Dahil nga kukunti lang yung mga subordinates. Okay? So magkakaroon na ng greater attention sa mga needs ng employees. And therefore, pati yung production ng products, performance of the services ay masu-supervise or ma-oversee and mako-control. Mako-correct immediately if there will be errors. And less skill required. Okay, then if a manager is trying to control a much larger group of direct reports, each with more autonomy. Okay, so, syempre, the how to handle a particular group of subordinates, of course, depends on the skill of the supervisor. Okay, so the larger the group of people reporting to one supervisor, the greater the skills the supervisor should have. Okay. So maraming skills na kailangan meron ang isang supervisor. Nandyan yung technical skills, okay, or technical knowledge. Okay. Nandyan din yung binanggit ko na kanina, interpersonal relationship skills, human relation skills. Diba? So, ano pa? Integrity. So marami pang iba, writing skills, speaking, communication skills. So yan. So maraming kailangan na meron na skills na meron ang isang supervisor. Okay, so narrow span of control. Sorry, this should be disadvantages. Okay? Disadvantages ito. Okay? So nagkakaroon ng demotivation. In what way na nagkakaroon ng demotivation? Dahil the employees can constantly feel pressure. Bakit nagkakaroon ng pressure? Kasi, yan, they are closely supervised. Laging nakatingin ang supervisor. And this can be demotivating. Diba? Nakakakaba kapag laging nakatingin sa iyo ang supervisor. Hindi lang yun. Napre-pressure ka rin na gawin yung trabaho mo ng maayos at perfect. Di ba? Kasi nakatingin si Bisor eh. So, it can cause demotivation. And then, slower decision making. Dahil sa marami siyang levels of management, so, yung if something is needed to be decided dun sa ground, pero sasabihin ng supervisor or ng team leader, wala sa level ko yung authority to decide on this. So, i-bring up ko to kay supervisor. Sabi naman ni supervisor, wala sa authority ko to. Kailangan i-bring up to kay kay senior manager. Or kailangan i-bring up to kay vice president. And so on. So, slower yung decision making. And then decrease communication. Ayun na nga, katulad ng an example natin kanina. So, with more layers of communication, hindi lang sa babagal yung communication, but magkakaroon din ng challenges on the understanding of the message from the bottom of the organization going to the top level management. So the message can be altered. Okay? So ganoon naman talaga pag nagpapasalin-salin ang mensahe from word of mouth. Magkakaroon ng dagdag bawas. So decreased in communication or effective communication. Okay? Okay. So my question po about span of control. Do you have a question about the span of control? So, okay, let us continue. So, planning work schedule. There are hundreds of schedule variation. Okay? And schedules vary in shift duration. Okay? Shift start times, sequence of work days, and off days, pattern of weekends off, okay, and whether the schedule uses permanent or rotating shift. Okay. And rotating schedules can vary by direction and speed of rotation. Okay. So, in the radiology department, okay, we uses the rotation or rotating schedules. And as said in this slide, the rotating schedules can vary by direction and speed of rotation. So what do we mean by direction or speed of rotation? So ito yung example niya. So how quickly the work shift times change. So let's say when we say fast rotation, this involves working different shifts within the same week. For an example, okay, day shift for 2 days, and then evening shift for the next 2 days, and then night shift for 1 day, at dalawang day off. Diba? So, ganito sa MMG nung intern ako. Pero hindi ko sure kung ganito pa rin ngayon. Okay. So, bali, ang nangyayari, ang duty is from night duty, okay, ang night duty ay 16 hours. 16 hours ang night duty. Okay? So, I think mag-start ng duty ng 7 ang morning, 7. So mag-end siya ng 6 p.m. for 8 hours. Tama ba? Hindi pala. Mag-end siya ng 5 o'clock. Kasi hindi kasama yung, or kasama sa duty, sa 8 hours duty yung lunch sa MMG before. Hindi ko lang sure ngayon kung nabago na. So, 7 to 5 ang duty, 8 hours duty. Then 16 hours. So, 5 o'clock to 7 in the morning. Tama ba? Tama ba yun? 16 ba yun? Ayun, basta yung overnight duty is 16 hours. And then, ang mangyayari, yung galing sa night duty, nasa overnight duty na 16 hours. So, kinabukasan, day off siya. Okay? And then sa susunod, morning duty naman siya. So, yun. Fast rotation. May different shifts sa iisang linggo. And then slow rotation involves working each shift for 2 weeks or more. So example, 2 weeks kang morning duty, tapos after 2 weeks, another 2 weeks kang afternoon duty, 2 to 10, 6 to 2, and 2 to 10. Then, after 2 weeks, or let's say after 3 weeks, night duty ka naman, which is 10 to 6. Okay. And, of course, the most famous is the weekly rotation. Okay, 1 week lang. 1 week ang morning, 1 week ang PM duty, 1 week ang evening duty or night duty. Okay? Okay. Then, yan. Ito naman ay direction ng rotation. So, yung kanina ay speed ng shift rotation. Ito ay direction ng rotation. Forward rotation or backward rotation. So, it involves moving from day shift to evening shift or afternoon shift to night shift. Yun yung forward. Ibig sabihin paabante. Backward naman is from night shift ka this week, magiging evening shift ka next week, and then the week after, day shift ka naman. So yan yung order of or direction of rotation. Okay? So madali siyang tandaan. Forward and backward rotation. Okay? May question po ba? Okay, so let us continue. So financial activities in a radiology department. So these are the common financial activities in a radiology department. So number one, annual budget. Of course, the uh, supervisor of the radiology department will have to submit to the finance department, okay, ng budget, annual budget. So the annual budget, okay, may include the following, but they are not limited to the renewal, yung cost ng renewal ng license to operate, renewal ng uh, preventive maintenance services contract. Okay? For each modality yon. Okay, usually kapag tapos na yung warranty, so kailangan mayroon ng contract for the preventive maintenance. Okay? Then other uh, expenses or programs na pwedeng uh, or na kinakailangan ay mapondohan. Halimbawa, kailangan magdagdag ng machine. So based on the let's say based on last year's statistics, okay, we need another uh, portable or mobile X-ray. So kailangan nasa annual budget 'yon. And of course, yung total budget mo or annual budget mo for the non-medical and medical supplies. Okay? Kailangan din meron kang contingency fund for unexpected machine repair. Okay? And so on. Okay. Then number 2 is yung requisition ng supplies. So, requisition of supplies is the process of creating a list of estimation of medical and non-medical supplies needed in the department and requesting the procurement of it. It is done on a monthly basis. Ibig sabihin, monthly yan. Monthly ka mag-request. Done before the the previous month ends. Let's say, today is September. So, nasa last week na tayo ng September, halimbawa. Then, today, kailangan ko lang makagawa ng list ng request for supplies. Okay, and that request of supplies will be for the month of October. Or depende sa schedule na ibibigay ng finance or accounting department. Okay, some institution 2 beses ang procurement ng supplies. Every 15 days usually yung procurement ng supplies. Okay? Pero some institution, monthly basis lang. Then, next is the inventory of supplies. So, inventory of supplies, partner yan ng requisition ng supplies. So, before you request for a supply or for supplies, you must have an inventory of what supplies are still available. Okay? So, inventory is an act of counting the remaining medical and non-medical supplies and the estimation of how many of the said supplies will remain at the end of the month. Hindi lang yung pagkabilang mo, yun na yung isusulat mo sa iyong inventory. Sa iyong inventory document. Okay? So, dapat mag-estimate ka rin. Let's say, ngayon, anong date pa lang ngayon? 28. So, meron pang 2 days. May 2 days pa ng September. Ngayon ka nag-inventory, ngayon ka nagbilang. So, dapat i-estimate mo rin kung gaano pang karaming supplies yung magagamit ng department ng September 29, September 30. At yun yung isusulat mo sa inventory, yung estimation mo na yun. Okay? So, naintindihan po ba? Let's say, nagbilang ka ng film or nagbilang ka ng X-ray envelope. So, let's say, may natitirang 50 pieces na X-ray envelope. Pero dahil 28 pa lang ngayon, so normally, ang average daily patient ay say 15. So, magbibilang ako ng 30. So ang ililista ko inventory ko is 20. 20 lang yung natira. Okay? And based doon sa inventory, magre-request ako kung gaano karami yung kailangan kong X-ray envelope for the month of October. Okay. So done on a monthly basis also. Done before the month ends. Okay. Done together with the making of requisition of supplies. Okay. And of course, number 4, the income reports. It is a document containing the lists of income, frequency of procedures done, and their amount tallied and compared with the cashier for the whole month. So it is done on a monthly basis. So it is usually submitted to the accounting department on the 3rd and 5th day of the month of the succeeding month. Okay. So let's say, bakit siya kailangan itali sa cashier? Siyempre kailangan dapat parehas kayo. Dapat parehas kayo ng information ng cashier. Oh. Baka mamaya sobra sa'yo ng isang let's say sobra sa'yo ng isang CT scan ng head with contrast. Tapos ayun sa cashier walang nakalista. Paano nangyari 'yon? So kailangan mag-reconcile yung inyong income report sa report ng cashier. So let's say for this particular day, ang nagawa nyong CT scan, let's say isang chest CT scan, dalawang skull CT, tapos isang skull CT with bone window. So yun. Pagdating sa cashier, wala yung skull CT with bone window. So yun pala, yung skull CT with bone window is na bill na siya or na charge siya kinabukasan na kasi after 5 na nagawa yung procedure. Halimbawa lang yun. So kailangan hanapin kung saan napunta yung procedure. Okay. Kasi kailangan kung magkano yung income na in-state mo sa iyong report, sa report ng department, yun din yung income na lalabas sa report ng cashier. Let's say for this day, ganitong amount yung kinita ng radiology department. Okay? So, usually, sa radiology, hinihiwa-hiwala yung kita per modality. Okay? So, magkakahiwalay ng financial report yung ultrasound, yung CT scan, MRI, and general radiography. So magkakahiwalay sila kasi syempre may kanya-kanya silang list of procedure and kung magkano yung amount. Kasi yun yung itinatali monthly. Okay? So may question po sa mga financial activities. Okay, so kung wala po ay let us continue. Okay, so panghuli, yung audit na tinatawag. So, fixed and movable assets are audited annually. Okay. When we say fixed assets, ito yung mga non-movable assets, mga nakatornilyo mga stationary assets like machines. Okay? Machines na hindi nagagalaw. So hindi kasama ang ultrasound machine. Kasi ang ultrasound machine ay movable, transferable. So ano yung mga machine na pwede? Let's say treadmill. Okay? Uh, X-ray machine. So yan, non-movable yan. Okay? Then, mga movable assets includes furniture, equipment, and machine paraphernalias. So let's say, ano yung mga equipment and machine paraphernalias? So this includes the cassette, the mga leaded or rubber leaded gloves, rubber leaded apron, etc. Caliper included. Okay? And of course, yung mga computers, light bulbs, printers, and even of course staplers and scissors are included in the auditing of movable assets. At hindi lang yan ang ino-audit, pati yung medical supplies and non-medical supplies na inire-request natin monthly. Eh bakit? Ano yung gusto makita ng audit or ng auditors? Baka mamaya request ka ng request, request ng condom, yung pala, natatambakan ka na ng condom. Diba? It means that as a supervisor, you are not hands-on with what is going on in your department. Kasi, ba't ka magre-request kung may supply ka pa na sa tingin mo ay maglalast pa for another month? Diba? So, yun. And of course, for medical supplies, halimbawa, iniiwasan dito yung pagkakaroon ng expiration ng medicines, okay, and other equipments. Halimbawa, yung mga oxygen mask, may mga expiration yun eh. Okay? And so on. Diba? Like mga gloves, mga distilled water, mga anesthesia, etc. Okay? Then, we proceed to the diagnostic imaging supervisor. So, the duties of the diagnostic imaging supervisor includes the following. But they are not limited to the following. Hindi lang yan, marami pang iba. So, basically, the imaging supervisor supervises, of course, and coordinates the daily operations of the radiology department. Next, they are responsible to the shift scheduling of staff. So, as you can see, may mga similarities doon sa seven responsibilities of a supervisor, di ba? Then, develops and implements staff training and development plans for continuing professional education. Then, resolves unit operation problems. Okay? Handles patients' complaints. So, ilan lang yan sa mga duties and function ng isang diagnostic imaging supervisor. Okay, so these are some of the minimum qualifications ng isang diagnostic imaging supervisor. So, the rest are listed in your book. Ito lang yung mga pinili ko na sa tingin ko ay importante. Okay? Technical competence. Okay, dapat mayroong understanding and technical expertise ang diagnostic imaging supervisor when it comes to the modalities or machines that is being operated by the radiologic technologist. Okay? Then integrity. course, kailangan may high level of ethical standards or ethical conduct ang isang uh, supervisor or diagnostic imaging supervisor. Then dapat yung kanyang interpersonal skills ay maganda. Okay? So shows understanding, empathy, courtesy, and establishes and develops maintaining meaningful relationship with colleagues and clients. Okay? Then team building skills encourages cooperation, camaraderie among colleagues, and fosters commitment and esprit de corps. Okay? So, ito yung mga pinili ko. But there are other qualifications such as communication skills, okay, decision making skills. So they are also important, okay, and you can read it in the book. Okay? Then the radiology administrator. So, well, kung ako tatanungin mo, uh, halos wala namang pagkakaiba yung diagnostic imaging supervisor sa isang radiology administrator. Okay? So, halos parehas lang naman siya. So, sabi dito, the radiology administrator's function and duties ay to plan, direct, coordinate administrative activities for the imaging department in a variety of settings, including hospitals, medical centers, imaging centers, and multi-specialty physician offices or clinics. Okay? They advise their staff and supervisor to administrative changes and direct and coordinate personal activities in their departments. Radiology administrators assist the facilities administration in the preparation of department budgets. Diba? Halos same lang naman sila ng ginagawa. Some radiology administrators also conduct classes and provide training materials to assist in student training programs. Okay? They recommend cost-saving processes. Okay? And additionally, they may interpret, prepare, distribute statistical data regarding department operations. Okay. However, yan, distributing data is under the protection of data privacy. Okay? So, kailangan wala tayong nalalabag na batas. Okay, so, these are the areas of responsibility of a radiology administrator. Okay? So, staff and oversee technologies, okay? Supervisors, and film librarians or film custodians, etc. Then oversee the RIS or Radiology Information System, oversee asset management, and ensure that equipment, services, and products are met. Okay? So, dapat na-meet nila yung current needs. Okay, then oversee the business side of radiology, including but not limited to budgeting, revenue projection, billing, and compliance. Okay, then oversee film library or the film stock room. Okay, or tawag dito, ano ba tawag dyan sa room na yan? Filing room, yan, filing room. Okay. And ensure films or digital images are accessible and maintained in accordance with the state and federal laws. Okay. Then, project management. So, ayan. Yan yung mga areas of responsibility ng isang radiology administrators. So ano bang mga educational background para ikaw ay maging isang radiology administrator? So basically, okay, karamihan ng mga uh, administrators na to ay mga naging estudyante rin. Mga naging entry level radtech or staff radtechs. But they encountered an opportunity and um, began to move up to the ranks. Okay? So minimum requirement, kailangan may bachelor's degree or bachelor's of science in radiologic technology. Okay? And then other educational background. So pwede sila magkaroon ng master's, either MHA or Masters in Hospital Administration or Masters in Business Administration. So currently, there are many people who are making or taking up a Master of Science in Radiologic Technologies as well as those in the academe. So maraming nasa clinical practice ang nagmamaster or nag-MSRT. Okay? So, lalo na yung mga nasa government. Bakit? Kasi it can be a basis for promotion. So, alam naman natin na kapag na-promote ka from, let's say, RadTech 2 to RadTech 3, malaki yung increase ng sweldo. Okay? So, these are my uh, references. Okay? Okay, so thank you for listening. That ends my lecture for today. Okay.